Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. I bought this little device a few months back, part of the Sony Family Studio series of devices they did back around 1990-1991. They did quite a few devices. The ones that I can remember are this one, a video assemble editor, and also a audio mixer. I think there was a character generator as well, actually, now I think about it, but can't be 100% sure on that. Maybe I'll find out by the end of this video. But yeah, these were quite expensive back in the day. This one here is quite an interesting looking device. You get a stylus with it. Basically, pretty obvious. You can draw some video titles on your TV screen. And then obviously you can superimpose those by passing a video signal through this and have them on your videos. So you can do titles and draw your own things. And probably some other different effects as well, looking at it. You've got a wipe in button there and a wipe out button. Different draw modes. I should imagine that's the white pattern, yellow up and down. Not sure what that one is. And then you've got that one there. And then you can, looks like you can store what you've done on two pages. So it must have some internal memory. Draw, standby, superimpose. I have already plugged this into a TV, but unfortunately it doesn't work properly. I'll show you in a moment what it's doing and what it's not doing. But let's have a quick look around it. This one's sadly faded slightly. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but it looks like they had the wires wrapped around it, and the sun's obviously the cables have masked that area, and it's got lines across it because as you can see on the back, it's grey, a bit like a PlayStation 1 actually. Looking at it, model number is a XV-T33F. Serial number on this one is 401745. Made in Japan. It uses 10 watts. Video sketch TITLER. I suspect this has probably got something to do with the MSX line range of computers in it. You could have a processor from that maybe, or the board could even be similar to what's in an MSX computer from that time period, or it could be a modified version of that, because I know Sony did that on some other devices. On the side there you've got a mechanical rocker switch there for power light. There's a clear button there, probably to clear from memory what you've drawn. Stylus we've already talked about. I'm not sure actually if this takes a battery, because that seems to want to come undone, but I can't get it to come undone. So maybe there are batteries in there, I don't know. Haven't done any research whatsoever on this yet. Got the classic It's a Sony logo there. Typical 90s. Looks like there might have been some labels on the back there, but they've gone now. Apparently these do suffer from leaking capacitors. I've seen that much. So maybe that's a problem. I've not smelt anything. I have been smelling at it, but it does smell electrical in there, but it doesn't smell sort of fishy or anything. On the back there you've got composite video and S-video, and the same on that side. So your player will be plugged into that. So it's good that it's got S-video actually. That's good. And then obviously you've got your video output there. So you'll plug your signal in, press play on that, do what you're doing on here, and then it will go on the output there back to the other VCR. But like I said, when I plugged it in, there wasn't doing much at all. Briefly put the logo up, but that's it, that's all it's doing. So we'll have a look next and see just exactly what it is and isn't doing on the TV screen. I've got an old Sony monitor here, TV screen. It's a KV6000BE. We'll try it on that, see what that looks like. Okay, so here we're all set up now. I've plugged everything in. TV's on. Let's power this up. See what it's doing today. The other day, oh, it looks a bit clearer today. The other day this was all a bit more broken up, but I can see the pictures rolling there. And it was doing that the other day as well. So I think it goes into demo mode now. It's got the year there, look, 1990 to 1991. You can hear a little beeping sound coming from it, but obviously the picture's rolling. And that's on brightest as well. I have already tried this on another TV, like I said, and it was dark on that as well. So let's give you a little demo there, what it can do. A little bit of juddering there on the picture. But of course it's doing more now than it was actually doing the other day when I first tried it. So it's possible that I've weakened it up slightly with those capacitors. The thing with caps, they can be bad, but after they've warmed up for a while, they can start, things can start working again in my experience. That's gone steady now. little bit of a bleed off of it, but to be honest with you, that's just composite video. Let me just try and refocus that. That's the best I'm going to get. It looks a lot more yellow on there than it does on the TV screen I'm looking at it on. But let's see if the stylus does anything. Let's see if we can get anything out of this. So that's the superimpose button I've just pressed. Nothing's happening, nothing, no colours. No menus coming up. So I wonder if it does have a battery in it. It makes sense if it has or needs a battery. So you've got a draw button, or that's wipe out. If I press that down, yeah. So I'm completely ignorant to it. I've never had one of these before. Clear that. No, nothing's responding whatsoever. Separate page. There your wipes. The lights are changing colour. Apart from that, nothing else is happening on the screen, as you can see there. Let's just press the clear button again. See if it goes back into demo mode. No. Just reset it. But now it's looking clearer than it ever did when I first tried it. And the pictures stopped rolling now as well. So it would seem it has slightly improved, like I said. What I wanted to do is go away and do some research and see if this stylus does indeed need some batteries. So I couldn't get that end off. Let's just try putting it off again. Oh, there we go. There's nothing on the end of it whatsoever. There's no battery terminal there or anything. But it looks like it can do quite a bit, looking at the demonstration there. This would have been quite a lot of money back in the day. I'll have to look through some of my what video magazines, see if it's in any of those. Okay, so it turns out that you don't need any batteries for that. Any object will actually operate this, or should operate this. Obviously this one's not working properly. So next thing to do is take this thing apart and have a look inside and see what's happening in there. I did just watch a couple of videos on this actually, and it does look like they do suffer with capacitor leakage. It's from that time period, unfortunately, the early 90s, the Great Capacitor Plague, and it's those horrible surface mount ones as well. So I'm going to have a look at those. Hopefully they've got markings on that I can still read if they're not too bad, and I'll probably replace them with just what I've got, just some standard electrolytes. So we'll get this open up next. I've got a coffee on the go. So let's get this thing open. It's missing its slider cover underneath there. There should be a little instruction sheet cover that slides out. So I noticed that's missing in somebody else's video, unfortunately. I think I've got all the screws. I think there's a ribbon cable that attaches this to the back, so as usual, always open these things up with caution. I'm missing a screw. Oh, there's one there, a lot on the back. Did find a service manual for this actually. Haven't looked at it yet, but we may need that, so we'll see how we go. I'm hoping this is just going to be a quick fix, to be honest. Thought this would be fun for my kids to use during the summer holidays. Oh, it's not a ribbon cable. Standard plugs by the looks of it. 1, 2, 3. So that's the underside. And a date code there. 1991. Goes 92, 93. So yes, it obviously ran for a few years then, or maybe they planned on it running for a few years. Oh, the ribbon cable's under there. I think somebody else mentioned it on another video about cleaning the ribbon cable. Alright, let's have a look at this. Wow, there's certainly a lot going on in there. And there we go, there's the CPU. The Zilog Z80 8400 Z80 CPU. Got a date code there, 9129, so 29th. There's a spot there, look, for another chip. Oh, it's got a Yamaha chip there. I guess that must be for the sound. There's no sound on this, apart from the beeper, unless it's graphics. Could be graphics. Let's have a look at these capacitors. Do they look bad? Ooh, yeah. Is that glue, or I might have to do a separate close-up of that one. Something coming out of it. Just there, look, next to that one there. Almost looks like foam. Doesn't smell as bad. That component there doesn't look like it's sitting very well. Almost looks like something's come out of it. What is that, in fact? I think that's a capacitor in there. It's leaking, whatever it is. Something leaking out of it. A lot of flux there on that IC. Interesting. That's the power supply side. Obviously that's all okay. That's working. Those two look okay. That one looks alright. So that one might be leaking a bit. I think I can see a little bit of residue there just coming out of that. And that one is leaking. Unless it's flux. It's not gone green. It's just it's changed colour. It's just there, look, on that leg. But no, that one there, it's definitely got something coming out of it. Yeah, these are capacitors. I've never seen them in a little case like that before. So is that 10UF 16 volt, I wonder? I bet it is. Yes, there's some adjustment as well there, look. Some adjustment parts. Won't be touching any of them. But no, there's quite a few surface mount capacitors on here, unfortunately. So that's not going to be a quick fix. But I think for the time being I might just try swapping out the ones that look bad. Yeah, there's definitely something leaking out around that. I can see a residue. It might not be showing up on camera, but there's definitely something around it. It's just I've got a clean cotton wool body there. Let's see if anything goes onto it. Yeah, definitely something coming out of that. And I bet when I've powered it up, it's probably made them leak even more. There you go, look. Yeah, they're leaking. So that one's definitely leaking. In fact, yeah, they all are. Oh boy. This is going to take some work. Yeah, look at that, look. So 22 must be the UF and 16 volt. Oh, that's going to take some work, that is. There we are, look, there's a close-up of that one there. You can see that's leaking quite clearly. And unfortunately, I think they all are. I really hope that's not capacitor juice. I think it's flux. Round stuff, whatever it is. Yeah. It's going to need a good clean up. It looks like I'm caught it in the nick of time. That one there. Almost frothing. Yeah, usually these things go all green and start corroding the board, but I think I've caught it in the nick of time. So if you've got one of these, get it open and have a look inside. Turns out the caps on the PCB for the computer itself have leaked as well. As you can see, after removing those two there, you can see the goo underneath. So next up is the daunting task of replacing all these leaking caps. And I really don't like these surface mount ones. I'm not very good at removing them. So I'm going to remove them using a method that I find better for myself and in this situation, which you have to judge obviously case by case. And I'm going to snip these off carefully. If they were green and corroded, I'd probably think twice about that, because it's possible they could actually lift off the tracks. And it turns out I did actually lift off one track slightly, but it didn't tear it away from the board. I know some people will cringe at this, but on this occasion this is what's working better for me. Once I remove the capacitor, I use a bit of flux to help aid remove the legs that are left, then I clean it off with some IPA. Using some ordinary electrolyte capacitors here, bending the legs over so they can just sit in place and where the old ones were. and now I shall repeat that process for the rest. Okay, so the moment of truth. I've just replaced, I think it was 26 surface mount capacitors. Got 5 on that board there, and the rest of the 21 are all on there. Most of them are at the top. I wasn't going to use surface mount because I don't have any anyway, so I just used what I had. So we'll go for the first power up now and see what happens, if anything. Hopefully it won't go pop. I haven't got obviously the top cover on with the control functions, but it should still boot. So fingers crossed. Hopefully it won't go bang. It may do, which could be interesting. It'd help if I switched it on, wouldn't it, at the wall? How many times have I done that now in videos? Okay, fingers crossed. Get ready. Is it even going to come on at all? It's beeping. It's always a good sign. Nothing on the screen. Oh, I saw something for a second. I'm going to plug that back in. It's fading back out, isn't it? So something's still not quite right. And the only capacitors I didn't change, it looked a bit iffy, was those ones there. One of those was leaking, but I wasn't quite sure what it was, what type of capacitor it is. So let's just try doing a reboot. Just see a faint image coming through on the TV screen over there. So I think that cap there was touching that little adjustment. So it's working, we just can't see much. Let's dim the lights. Yeah, it's definitely coming through there, look, you can just about see it. But it's a faint image. What I'm going to do is pop the cover back on now. Now we know it's not going to explode. No, it's still faint. You can only just about see it on the TV screen. Right, I think we better have a look at some of those other capacitors. So I've started to have a look at those other capacitors, the ones in the little black cases. So as you can see, the picture has got brighter over time. After having it powered up for about 20 minutes, it goes bright, which would indicate a capacitor problem, because they tend to do better once they've warmed up. So I've got 3 of these left to replace, that one there and those 2 there. I think I'm going to swap those out next. I've already swapped out that rotten one, that just fell to pieces in my hand when I took that off. So we'll swap those out next, see if that makes any difference. Interestingly, when I plug the composite video in initially, it does give a burst of brightness. It's quite bright, as you can see there, look. But obviously it dims down, back down again. So we'll swap those out next and see how we get on with that. So I've just swapped out those 3 that I mentioned, and guess what? We've now got full colour. Well, nice bright picture. Look at that. You can actually see it now. Brilliant. I knew it was a capacitor problem. You could just tell, because after a while they tend to warm up and they start working a bit better. So that's good then. Excellent. The next problem to solve will be the input pad. Why wasn't that stylus responding? None of the buttons on the front work, apart from the buttons with PCBs. So I had a look at that ribbon cable, and sure enough, it actually unplugs. There's a small attachment that you pull away, and the ribbon cable just drops out. After removing it and then plugging it back in again, it came back to life. All the buttons started working, so that was another problem solved. Unfortunately, I wasn't filming when I discovered this, and once you get that black protective cover off, it's quite obvious once you get those red screws out. Just be careful when you remove the securing clamp that holds the ribbon in place. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of this video. So this has pretty much had a complete recap of all the surface mount capacitors, because they were all in fact leaking in the end. The other electrolyte capacitors seem to be okay, so I haven't touched those. And the digitizer input there, the pad, was just a case of reseating that ribbon cable, and all is well. So in part 2 of this video, I'll be doing a complete demonstration of this unit, the Sony TITLER XV-T33F, and we'll see what it looks like. I'll record its output into a computer so you can see what it actually does. So hopefully somebody out there will have found this video useful and help them repair their machine. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that with me. As always, thanks for watching, and until the next video, I'll be seeing you. And if you did enjoy watching this video, you may want to take a look at some of my other videos on similar themes. I'm always buying something on eBay, some old piece of technology, and trying to repair it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching.